This is a letter to Miss Isaacs. I still respect our friendship, and I'll always be family. All I ask is on the centenary of the 11th of the 11th, 18, my son will stand next to me with pride, and the sacrifice was worthwhile. It's the only promise I have to uphold. All will become clear when you read into this. One day, when our son is a man who asks about his history, well, this is it. The following I've copied and pasted because what I wrote is a relative sent me, Roger and I, on my network, and I had to put in a clear point across. When I'm head of the family is when I'm proud, and it's all about the children. For the observers who dislike me, it's okay, I can live with that, but it's another thing being misunderstood. In my opinion, if I can go through life and gain true friends that I can count on with both hands, then I'm a lucky man. I appreciate that if you campaign, in my case, I add my voice to what is morally right. But it opens the door for those who tend to differ, but I'm going to try and make a difference and promote awareness. For the record, my birth name is Jason Alexander, but I have every right to use the surname NYE, which is my mother's maiden name. Apart from my kids and my sister, we are the only Alexanders in the manor of Brighton, UK. My father, Alan Alexander, came to Brighton, but originated from London, which is the capital of England. But Mr. Nye connection with Brighton, UK goes back to hundreds of years, including William Charles Nye, born in 1900. He would be proud of his great-great-grandchildren. But the next brief comment with yours and the children's name I've not shared. I've just added my comment. But I speak on behalf of my lot, Miss Isaacs, and that is a thank you. We have an heir, a blue-eyed boy, and what a beautiful blue diamond Miss Alexander Isaacs is. What is champion, we have coexisted. Brighton motto is from the downs to the sea we will flourish. I'd like to thank Roger and I for sending me what he had found. I'd also like to stress that they're here in the Brighton, UK, which is only 50 miles from the capital London, is rich with history, and I'm proud of Brighton's heritage. I have personally been involved in heritage walks, in which I escorted the general public to landmarks and places of significance, including the Royal Pavilion down to the Old Ship Hotel, which dates back hundreds of years. There's a tunnel in the basement that runs all the way under the lanes to the Royal Pavilion. This was used for many reasons, but most importantly, a passage for the Prince Regent, the Prince of Wales, who incidentally went on to become King George IV, could get from the Ship Hotel to the Pavilion and back. We owe so much in respect of his appreciation of art and splendour. Martha Gunn, his dipper, who lived in Eyre Street, is buried just up the road. So the picture I share of the landmarks and places of significance is out of love and passion. Also, when I have tagged my location, for example, the Royal Pavilion, it's not a grandeur moment, because I like to sit in the grounds most days. I have a favourite bench, and you can get the finest cream tea in the museum, which was just like the Brighton Dome used to be the stables for the Prince Regent's horses. So there you have it. Lastly, I've also learnt how to make false marble with the original tools used dating back to the Regency era. Down here in Brighton, which was formerly known as Brighthelmstone, is renowned for its Regency architecture, and it's all down to the Prince Regent. There's a Regency house being renovated up in Brunswick Square. I enjoyed the innovation to check it out and look forward to add my touch. A great honour. Did you know Sussex, which is a county in Brighton, was founded by the Saxons when they first arrived around 500-600 AD, but they were the first to give Brighton a name. My ancestral name Nye, which means island or river, first documented use of the name was around 700 AD. The Nyes clan originally came to the shores around AD 500 to 600 AD and first settled in Essex, England. Another abbreviation of the name Nye is Nash, and it was a certain John Nash who designed and built the Royal Pavilion, just right side they say, a trickle of a river. So there you go. Hope that helps with all the confusion. So much inspiration in Brighton. We regard it as a quiet space. I could do tours on many aspects, but I would not sell out my hometown, my place of birth. I was born on the 11th of the 11th, which is also Armistice Day, the Day of Remembrance. When I was lead drummer in the Air Training Corps 176, it was a great honour playing the drum roll in front of the War Memorial. The only noise amongst the silence, out of respect to all those from the manor who did not return, including 3 Nyes, including William Charles Nye, who perished while escorting Lord Kitchener to Russia. He was a stoker. And 1 Alexander. In Brighton we have a crest and we are blue, but I'm black and blue. The translation of the Latin placed on the crest is simply, "In God we trust." In respect to the crown, and I was born at the Royal Sussex County Hospital, Brighton, England, UK, Great Britain. Respect, thank you. Now here we come to some landmarks. Here's the pillar in Preston Park. Then you've got the Victorian Fountain at the Old Steam. Then you've got the Spas up in Queen's Park. Then you've got the St Peter's Church, which is under renovation at the moment. Then you've got the Finest Rock, and Chris Catlin, of ex-Seagulls manager, used to be the owner of the Cat. Then you've got Preston Park, the old Victorian sewers, Preston Manor, the Downs, Wild Park, the Peace statue down at the boundary line just by the West Pier and the I-360. We have the Brighton shoreline, the Brighton Housing Trust who've helped me, and the usual personal point of human rights. Then I move on to the lanes. There's 2 lots of lanes. This is the lanes, the old fishing lanes. Here we have the Dome, which used to be the stables for King George IV. Here's me on the beach with my deck chair, because I'll Brighton till I die. Then we've got Stammer Park Manor. And then we have me moving on to why I campaign for one. Because the only war I condone is the war against extreme poverty and preventable diseases. I'd like to tell you about the One campaign. One is a campaigning and advocacy organisation of nearly 8 million people around the world taking action to end extreme poverty and preventable diseases, particularly in Africa. We believe that the fight against poverty isn't about charity, but it's about justice and equality, whether lobbying political leaders in world capitals or running cutting-edge grassroots campaigns. One pressures governments to do more to fight AIDS and other preventable, treatable diseases in the poorest places on the planet. Also to empower smallholder farmers to expand access to energy and to combat corruption so governments are accountable to the citizens, but it's co-founded by Bodo and the activists. One is strictly non-partisan. One is nearly 8 million members are critical to this work. They come from. In 2013, I had a duty and I pulled together and represented 600 members in Brighton who are keen to get local or get active. Our fantastic members, Alan, who's also our transparency guru, Jason Alexander, booked in time with their local MP, Caroline Lucas, to talk about the G8 summit coming up in June, and the opportunity we have to eradicate extreme poverty by focusing on nutrition and transparency. Caroline Lucas wrote about this meeting on her blog. I had a really interesting surgery appointment recently with local supporters of the One organisation. Their group here in Brighton is very active, and I was impressed by the passion and commitment to action of who they are at last week's surgery. Following on from the appointment, I'll be supporting the One campaign for greater corporate transparency. This includes a call for all names of ultimate beneficial owners or companies to be put in public registries. Beneficial owners are those that may benefit from company ownership. for example, may receive income, even though legal title of the company belongs to others. This creates a feel of secrecy that makes theft or assets and tax evasions more likely. Greater transparency is a crucial step in allowing citizens to track resources and enabling governments to collect revenues. Also, tackling tax evasion is something I'm strongly pushed about from here in the UK, through the measures such as 2011 Tax and Financial Transparency Bill. I wish the One Caymans all the best for their endeavours in coming months. I look forward to working with them in the future. So what did the think of the meeting? Alan thought, I was very excited to see my MP and talk to her about One's agenda on transparency and about the upcoming G8 summit. She seemed really interested about the issues and happy to lend her support, which was great, and I gave her a small sunflower plant to remind her of our visit. It seemed appropriate for the UK's first Green MP, Alan Hudson. I would like to thank Caroline Lucas MP on behalf of One and the many One Brighton constituents for giving me no doubt from the first word spoken that me and MP Caroline Lucas were on the same page. It was not a meeting to persuade, but a committed relationship in sync with pushing the momentum ahead of the G8 summit. I was personally impressed when MP Caroline Lucas asked us if we were aware of the IF campaign. We gained not just a voice, but the beginning of a committed relationship with future campaigns for the fight against extreme poverty. Jason Alexander. As an advocate for the One campaign, I got asked to write a letter to Mr. Dr. Vince Cable MP. It was Wednesday the 24th of August 2013. It was Saturday the 14th, 2013 at 10 p.m. Dear Mr. Vince Cable MP, Minister for Business and Innovation. Hi, my name is Jason Alexander and I'm a constituent from Brighton, UK, Great Britain. I'm also an advocate for justice and change that essentially boils down to the fight against extreme poverty and the fight against preventable diseases that need to imply basic human rights. I am contacting you in response of asking me to gain an opinion from many angles that also include the public. This asking is a milestone, I feel personally, and there have been many achieved since the world opened up and gains access to the library of the world and social media. History tells us so much, and much what is written in the past can be of speculation or propaganda, but we have now the chance of replacing history books in which is total transparency. The simplicity of the message that is ringing of having a crackdown on phantom firms by ensuring that information about who owns and controls companies and trusts is made public has to be the backbone of the consultation, in my opinion. But this is a quote that sums it up in one. At the table of the consultancy will be, I hope, is a table that will take this up to the next level. Not a consultancy to decide or pursue or decide it to be of debate, but one that works on the correct path that is essentially morally right. At the meeting there should be a chair that no one sits on, because that chair represents the people and the many organisations who share the same united voice. In the UK we have laws and justice system, and that's highly regarded with respect worldwide, that is emulated and learned from. A justice system that personally has been in my life, and I'm speaking of truth and honesty. What I'm trying to say is when I broke the law in the past, I served and respected my sentence served on me. It doesn't mean a sentence is a gateway for forgiveness, but gives you the chance, a second chance, to change. I served my time and I learnt the importance of change, and I learnt from my past. The moral of what I'm trying to say, Mr. Cable, is we have a justice system that can play a big role in implicating justice. I feel if we divert from the issue will result in a negative attitude mixed with a lowering power that is respect of Great Britain. We can do this.